which we've seen a lot of teams do, and then using the Jax and the Zyra, they can carry that through to the late game, which is what everyone else has been having problems with up until now.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the thought process behind it. Allow Zyra to get the time to farm up, or allow those GP10s to tick over, pick up that Zhonya's Hourglass, pick up the Void Staff, and all of a sudden become a threat, a damage-dealing threat. I like the pickup of Rumble for Wicked, and Karthus looks like it might be picked. It hasn't been locked in just yet. Let's wait for that border to go dark, and that is... Karthus has been locked in. I think this is a great combination because they're going to be wanting to fight on top of Zyra's ultimate, on top of that Stranglethorns where everybody's going to group together and clump together. If you blow up Froggen, he's going to continue to deal damage. If you fight on an Equalizer on top of a Defile, you're not even going to need to be punched because your HP is going to drop so rapidly per second by that damage over time. It's very, very scary. You add all of that with a Curse of the Sad Mummy, and all of a sudden the AoE damage and AoE CC from CLG is going to melt the HP bars that Fnatic has.
Trying to think here, what will the last pick be? What is Peke going to take? He could take the Zyra off and rated and switch up to a different support here. Zyra does quite well against Karthus because of her range, because the constant push she can do, keeping Karthus pushed back under the turret. Froggen has no problem with sitting under the turret and farming with Karthus. We all know that well and true. But just that little bit of ability to roam around, it will give...
Oh, for those of you who are seeing it, this is a Lee Sin that has been locked in. Let's wait for the champions to be swapped around. Because is Soaz... X-Peke going to be running Lee Sin in the middle versus Karthus?
Is Peke going to take Froggen's own champion and turn it back against him? Are we going to see Peke try that Lee Sin? He's still got a couple of choices. He could try the Xin Shao. It's a much more unorthodox mid, but they would both work very strong in the early game up against that Karthus. Karthus is running Exhaust, of course, very standard for Karthus just to run that. Helps him land the layways, keeps him in that Defile for a long, long time. And on top of that, helping out with a melee champion up against you in the mid lane is a big thing. Does look like it's going to stick this way. Peke holding onto this Lee Sin. I have no idea what to expect from this. I haven't seen him practice it. I haven't seen Fnatic scrim, but they've been boot camping hard these last 2 weeks. They've already shown us one funky strategy using Soaz on Warwick in the first game. Didn't really work out for them. Is this their next one? The
exact same situation is now in place. Blitzcrank was locked in by Crepo. Wait for the last couple of seconds. It is locked in, and it is staying locked in. Peke has now swapped over to Jax, and Soaz is going to be playing Lee Sin. So is that going to be Jax in the middle? Most likely.
Peke and Soaz used to, I don't know if they still do, they used to swap those lanes quite often when they were playing the likes of Kennen and Vladimir. Peke can still play that top lane very, very well, as it can Soaz play mid lane up to a scratch. If it is purely based on the champion skill, Soaz has had much more practice on Lee Sin. Would feel safer putting him in the mid lane up against Froggen. We'll have to wait and
see. It's a risky play. The thing that I like is any one of those champions, Jax, Lee Sin, or Xin, if they get caught by a rocket grab, they're stoked. They're happy about that. They can carry on fighting, carry on putting their damage down. So it's a great selection of abilities and champions. In the early game, all of that auto-attack damage is going to play into their favor. You can get kills easier because champions have lower armor up until they've leveled up a little bit or purchased some items. The flip side, outside of Jax's magic damage and the little bit that Zyra and Ezreal are going to be putting down in the early game, there's not a lot of AP on there. Once Zyra gets that Zhonya's Hourglass and the Void Staff, all of a sudden you have an AP mage, 3 bruisers, and an AD carry.
So we are about to complete the load screen. We're about to complete level 1 of this game. Just before we get things underway, guys, when we finish here, it is still very late, but this is perfect timing for IEM Singapore to kick off. Those guys are up, and we know a couple of them are currently watching the stream, so hello to them. But we are into our game. We are into game number 3, our deciding match between CLGEU and Fnatic for our grand final. Give us a cheer, guys.
Well, that's it, and exactly like Panky was saying, because of the time differences between here and Singapore, if you still have not had your League of Legends fix, go jump over there. It's playoff day kicking off, but before we get there, it is grand final for Dreamhack Winter. Fnatic, they are on the hunt, and we're moving with a purpose. It looked like they definitely wanted to do something over on the CLG blue side, but instead, 2 Electro Harpoons to the face counters that particular piece of aggression. An early ward by CLG is going to provide vision from this entrance to the river. And Fnatic, a couple of pings around Nasher, and they're just waiting to see where they're going to move.
They have got that very strong level, we mentioned. Great start from Xin Shao. Brilliant start from Lee Sin. Then you've got the stun from Peke. Then you get a massive long-range snare that can hit multiple targets from Enrated. And then Mystic shots from Records. CLG are setting up very defensive in their jungle. They have got a war place in that banana bush. Fnatic will have seen that, I suspect, on their first invade. And if they do go and do this later than normal, they should get in safely. But CLG predicted that. They've warded the other end of the river as well. If Fnatic come out through this tri-bush, they are still going to be spotted. There's a ping onto that bush from Fnatic. They want to go in there, and actual fact, that's a misplaced ward from CLG. It's not in the bush.
Well, double check that. Nevertheless, the vision is up. It doesn't actually go into the bush, as you have said, so it is a little bit short. Even pro players make small mistakes. Wicked is gone all the way back. He's made it out of his lane. Froggen stealing away that big Wraith, leaving the three smaller ones. And of course, Amumu, Snoopy, he's going to move around, steal Fnatic's blue buff. It's going to effectively just be a straight-up trade. That's going to play into their favor. Amumu really, really needs that blue buff at low level. Wicked is going to poke his head around. We'll see if they're going to decide to engage on this. Nobody's used any sort of ability, and Cyanide steals that blue buff away. Snoopy left alone for a couple of seconds. He steals his own respective blue buff. And exactly as we have pointed out, it is actually going to be Pekka in the middle with Jax. So Jax versus Karthus, we thought they may have swapped the lanes. We thought maybe they would have put Soaz there who can use the mobility to dash in and out of combat, get through, mitigate that slow from the Wall of Pain. But truthfully, so can Jax. As long as he, saves his leap strike, he can use it both offensively and defensively, depending on how things roll.
We're going to need to see quite a bit of attention now from XinShao down in towards this bottom lane. Pete and Creeper have had a little bit of time in lane alone where they're going to hit that bonus XP. They're going to hit 2 before Reckles and Unrated. So given the fact the lane's pushing in, they're going to have a little bit of control over it. Reckles and Unrated are going to have to play very, very careful, and if they're not careful enough, it will start to snowball out of their control. XinShao comes down. They can bait Creeper and Pete in, perhaps under the turret or through a lane gank. Try and make something happen, push it back in the other direction. We'll have to wait, watch to see how that unfolds. But at the moment, XinShao's in the top lane, he's just done his golems, and he's now going to recall. Notice though how he's only level 2 because he didn't have his big Wraith to go
down in the bottom lane, rocket grab into Power Fist, knocks Unrated up in the air. He takes a huge burst of damage, and it's something that he simply cannot afford to do. We've seen this during the early game of the previous matchup as well, where Unrated would fall victim to that rocket grab multiple times in a row. Luckily, he was able to not give away more kills than he needed to in that particular matchup, but it is getting very, very late. Players have been here for a very long time. Up in that top lane, Wicked is taking a lot of poke from Soaz, and he's going back and forth. Pekka needs to be careful because look at Snoopy's position. If he does overstep his grounds, he could eat a bandage toss. And you know what? This late in the day after so many games, if Unrated makes a mistake, if fatigue starts to set in, he could give away a kill and snowball that lane even harder against him.
So let's have a quick look through the creep score at the moment. Froggen 22, Peke 17, slightly behind. Peke is now doing the Wraith Cam, so that will bring his score up a little bit more. Lee Sin ever so slightly ahead of Wicked. Cyanide a long way behind Snoopy in the jungle. He is starting to be a little bit more gang heavy. We do see it in the bottom lane. Creeper getting quite aggressive down towards Reckles and then Rated again. Just trying to scare them off the CS, try and threaten that grab, see if he can find the right opening. Not quite there yet though. 25 CS to 18 for Unrated and Yellow Pete. Sorry, for Reckles and Yellow Pete. With this lane pushing in, Reckles should pick up a few of these up from the turret to start to close that gap. Ultimately though, CLG starting to pull ever so slightly ahead in every one of the lanes except top.
Yeah, top lane, I've been poking back and forth with the camera, and Soaz is gaining a little bit of an advantage. He has an additional potion, which Wicked is down to his very last one, and he's been able to poke fairly evenly in terms of damage. Soaz somehow managing to land that Sonic Wave, is going to chase it up, uses the Tempest and the Cripple, going to continue chasing, jukes past the Electro Harpoons. Such great play. He's baited them back to Pekka. Pekka is now going to land the Counter-Strike, almost, not actually going to be enough. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, Snoopy is very, very low. There's no red buff or slow on him though, so he's going to be able to get to safety, but forced incredibly, incredibly low, and forced to back. Froggen is almost going to pick up that Requiem though. He's about to get level 6, and all of a sudden things will change once that ability is there. But that momentary passage of play with Soaz juking in and out and dodging definitely played into their favor. Pekka is going to dive, the stun does land, he's got it, first blood goes to Soaz, and it's going to be able to get to safety. Very, very nice tower dive once again from Fnatic, being able to pick up that kill.
I wanted to comment how beautifully played Wicked did that first gank. Snoopy was very low, he was still slow, they were trying to chase him, but Wicked stood there and got himself stuck between the creeps and the wall and couldn't let Fnatic pass. They couldn't get through him to get to it. Bottom lane, flash, knock up from Cripper comes in, and Rate's going to get taken very low. The ult's coming out from Karthus, but he comes in for the final kill, but the true damage comes out. Yellow Pete will fall, the kill goes to Zyra. Creeper is now fighting Reckles, the ult's already been used by Karthus. Creeper is very low, Reckles with one last auto attack does pick up the kill, taking them 3-1.
Fnatic once again find themselves in a position where in the first few minutes they are in the advantage. They are in the driving seat 1 kill to Zyra, 1 kill to Ezreal. Ideally, you would want that gold in your AD carry. You would want him to start snowballing and pulling ahead. In this particular composition and the way that Enrated plays Zyra, you actually want him to get some gold. You want him to get closer to that Zhonya's Hourglass and that Void Staff because he is their AP mage. Soaz and Wicked are trading back and forth once again. Cyanide comes in, 1, 2, third talent strike's going to knock him up. Soaz dives all the way forward with the resonating. Is going to follow, pick up a second kill on the back of that double Doran's Blade. And that's exactly what we were talking about, the low level pressure that Xin Zhao and Lee Sin offer. They land all their abilities, beautifully well played. Lee Sin, Soaz, he flashed in front of Wicked to block the escape, land the slow and make sure Wicked had absolutely no escape route. 36 CS to 25, and maybe the tower going down.
What makes it even better is that was slightly misplayed by Fnatic. The knock-up from Cyanide came out exactly the same time as the kick came out from Soaz. If he'd waited and let the kick go through, or if he'd waited until the knock-up had finished, they would have had even further for Wicked to run back to the turret. They still managed to kill him without it, though, so it leaves an area of improvement for their next gank when Wicked's going to be stronger, and they're still going to have that opportunity to kill him again. They've started off brilliantly in this game, using those early game champions to their fullest extent. Hopefully they can keep it going, and they can take it through and bring us this upset we wanted. Bring us a 2-1 victory in the final. Still a long way to go, though, and CLG could easily turn this around.
That is right in the bottom lane. Yellow Pete sidesteps those grasping roots. He does eat a little bit of plant damage, though, for his troubles. Froggen, Leap Strike plus Empower, taking a lot of damage. Peke
bottom lane, and Rati gets grabbed in by Creeper. We do see another quick snag goes down to Yellow Pete. Rekko's going to keep the chase up. He's forced a Valkyrie out from Yellow Pete, though, and Rati started to take a lot of damage here. Needs to be very careful not to take any more grabs.
Interestingly, I just clicked onto Peke to see how he's leveling his Jax, and this AP middle Jax at the moment, 4 points into Leap Strike, so he's opting to forego Empower right now. At 8 minutes, the rest of Fnatic are picking up Dragon. It goes down very quickly with all of the auto attackers that they have on board, and you have to feel Fnatic, they are just on fire right now. They have planned, they have prepared for this entire tournament. Every single opponent that they have faced off against, they had, they picked the bans for the champions that the players were most famous for. They have been playing phenomenally well in the middle lane. Peke is going to jump onto Froggen. Wall of Pain goes down, not going to be enough. It's Froggen forced backwards. Requiem is available in 20 seconds. He manages to get away to safety. He did need to burn his flash and his exhaust, though, just to keep Peke off of him.
Fnatic are looking more and more impressive every time we see them play. Another game comes out, they try something new, and it's something big in there. Reckles add them into the bottom lane. These last couple of months of training is doing some great things for them, but this game is not quite over yet. Peke holding quite well against Froggen in the mid lane. They have in fact brought Wicked down from top as well. Now that his turret is dead, he cannot duel Soaz. Soaz would just chase him all the way up lane and just kill him. So with those 2 extra kills, Wicked cannot stand up against it. They're going to bring him down towards mid instead. Froggen is making his way across towards the blue buff. We'll see if he goes up there against Soaz, but I have a feeling he's going to have just as tough of a time. So we'll have to try and figure out how CLG do handle this. You see in the bottom lane, Snoopy was off to one side, couldn't quite make anything happen from it though. Froggen was picking up his blue, Soaz actually came across to try and do it, but he found him there with a quick wall of pain though. He managed to zone Soaz away. Does now push this lane into the turret. Froggen just going to sit here with the Defier running and land those laneways to pick up all that gold and experience. And Wicked, it does look like he is going to sit here in mid and he's going to take on Jax.
And he was doing very well. Jax was relatively low from the previous engagement, had about 2/3 of his HP, but nevertheless, as soon as Wicked returned to lane, with that Doran shield, he was able to put enough damage and pressure onto Peke's Jax to actually force him back. He was taking a lot of damage from the Flame Splitters, he landed multiple Electro Harpoons, and it was keeping Peke very defensive. Something about this strategy that we've seen, which is a little bit unique, Cyanide has spent a lot of time farming in this middle lane. He's been left relatively left alone relatively in this middle lane while bottom lane Enrated gets caught. The burst damage is immense. Stranglethorns goes down. Requiem is going to be able to pick up the kill. True damage, will it be enough to help anybody else though? Up in the top lane, Lee Sin isn't able to stop that channel unfortunately, and with the Requiem damage, everybody else has dropped a little bit low. CLG pick up their second kill of the game. And yeah, Cyanide once again, as I said, Peke roaming, he goes to pick up the blue buff. Now he's coming back into this middle lane. Maybe going to try to set up a kill, but Snoopy is there.
Yeah, the Requiem damage wasn't even needed to get that kill. We do see Peke leaping in onto Wicked, then the stun damage. Snoopy going to come over with the bandage toss. Equilibrium strike comes out from Wicked. Not quite there. It's not the equilibrium strike.
The equalizer.
Equalizer.
Close enough, close enough. It's been 13 hours, Panky. We've been on stage for approaching 13 and a half, 14 hours. That's not too bad.
So as 7 of those, but still
runs into Snoopy. Take a look at that. Curse of the Sad Mummy goes down. So as he's going to use Safeguard to try and get to safety. Dragon's Rage kick is going to put everybody away, and that completely cancels the engagement. He's even cocky enough to land that Sonic Wave. You know, just toss that out over onto Froggen. He gets away to safety. Will the recall finish? Lay waste. It cancels it. So as is in trouble now. Will he get killed? Crepo's looking for a kill. Rocket grab. Power fist into the air. He's going to leave it for the rest of his team. One more lay waste. Will give it over to Froggen. And that was great, great, great play. Half a second difference. Half a second is what it meant. But nevertheless, gives up the kill. And once again, we show pro players don't recall in odd positions. Just run back. Take the extra 5 or 10 seconds and guarantee you don't feed kill to your enemy champion, especially an enemy Karthus who's working towards his Rod of Ages right now.
So Rekkles and Enrated pushing onto this bottom turret. We're going to run a minion shortly. But they will keep that damage down once the next wave arrives. LFP is down here, but he does just recall from that tier 2 turret. We'll have to leave. And I'd now hiding up in this top push with Wicked, slowly pushing into the turret, waiting for Soaz to come and join it, maybe trying to make something happen. I'm not sure if Cyanide can take this 1v1. Wicked does have a Doran shield and boots, and that is it. Cyanide only has the Madras Razor, so he's going to go in as soon as the creep wave runs out. Cyanide getting in, the knockup's going to land, the overheat is there. Will he get the next attack off? Not when that scrap heap comes out, and Wicked will get that movement speed back and push himself away. So Wicked has safety, Cyanide is not too much of an issue. Do you see the bottom turret fall? GoPro and LFP come back down here now, and they do have a little bit of a trouble with these plants. With a quick snare comes up Zyra, but nothing too serious. They will go on to continue their creep wave. As Rekkles and Enrated recall and go back to spend all their lovely one-out gold.
Look at his items. Ezreal has opted to build a Hex Drinker first, and I really, really like his itemization. Once again, you've got Karthus, huge amount of damage, Requiem that can kill people, Rumble, lots and lots and lots of magic damage, Equalizer can absolutely delete people. Every single champion on the CLG roster deals a large amount of magic damage. Amumu, Corki, Blitzcrank, large portions of their damage are magic based. So that Hex Drinker going to give a little bit of magic resistance. It's going to put him a little bit behind in this early stages of the game because of course it's not going to give him that same sort of carry type DPS. But then when you've got Jax and Xin on your team, you don't really need to deal as much auto attack damage because the rest of your team is going to help balance that out. So it's a really well thought out and well put together team. The only thing that is very, very slow for them is how long it's going to take them to get ability power damage in the form of like a mage like Zyra.
Yeah, we do see Fnatic pushing straight up to this mid lane. We do get quick flash kicking Snoopy into the rest of the Fnatic team. So is going to get burst down very low. The Curse to Sad Mummy did go off though. Is 1-for-1 trade so far. Snoopy for Soaz. But there's Pekka picking up another kill onto Rumble. Does lead back to his team with Exhaust is running. Froggen still got ult. They don't want to kill him, but Rekkles taking a lot of damage from here. There goes the Hex Drinker. Gripper still coming forward. He's looking for that perfect grab. There's a creep between them, but it's a friendly creep. There goes the silence. Does get the silence in the grab onto Rekkles. The knockup goes down. Froggen comes in for a kill. Creeper's on fire.
Sitting 2 for 2 at the moment. Now they've turned their attention to Cyanide. Strangling Roots goes down. It's not going to be enough. The late waste. One more may be enough. Flashes from both champions forced, and Zen is going to be able to get away with his life. 5 to 6 in terms of kills. I believe that was a 2 for 2 exchange at the end of it. Fnatic doing well to start and actually managing to pick some stuff off the back of it. The crowd is cheering. The crowd is excited. And let's listen to how loud they can go. Panky, the energy here is electric. 10 past 1 in the morning. Jönköping, Sweden, Dreamhack, you rock!
X-Packer then soloing down this dragon. He does have Enrated closing in to try and help him out, but the entirety of CLG are doing the same thing. Wicked and Snoopy are the first to arrive. They do push them back off of the dragon. So as pushing the top lane does mean that Fnatic are going to have to play this very carefully if they want to come in and fight for it. Double pink ward goes down by CLG. Does mean they get that one kill. Dragon going down very slowly. Fnatic not quite closing in the speed they want to. There's the Ezreal goes out, does catch Wicked and Snoopy, taking him down a little bit low. Dragon is still standing, not quite as smite range yet. Here comes the ult from Froggen. Creeper is going to be taken down first in the back of this Dragon Pit. He is the first casualty. The Karthus hasn't picked up any kills yet. Double kill, quickly followed by Xin Xiao. Rekkles does pick up one kill on Snoopy as well. Fnatic they're very low as the Equalizer comes out from Wicked. So as it comes down from the top lane, lands a Q onto Wicked, activates it, flies straight in, ended up landing a slow onto Froggen. Going to keep the chase going. Does he have that Dragon Range kick to fire it in onto Froggen? Wicked nicely dodged of that Q. But now Fnatic do manage to head their way back in towards the Dragon Pit. The Dragon was killed by Xin as that continued, and another quick kill's picked up. It's going to keep Fnatic Snowball rolling well and truly down that hill.
Xpeke, he does have vision on Frog, and he decides not to jump in there, though. Does need to be very, very careful. Soaz is trying to find Yellow Pete. He has a Brutalizer in hand. It is a lot of damage. Froggen is going to be in trouble. Take a look at that. Dragon's Rage kick is going to pick it up. Wicked now turns his attention over to Soaz. Soaz is going to start backing off. 5-9. Fnatic are 6,000 gold up right now. They managed to take that dragon, survive the damage from Wecrium and the rest of the DPS from CLG, and pick up 2, make that 3 kills, of course, on the back of that. They were trying to steal the red buff, and they realized that they overstayed their welcome in the CLG Tea Party house, and now that they're backing off to safety, they're going to be very, very happy with that. Take a look at the gold across the board. Many of the champions are busy looking at the information, and we do have a momentary pause, so do apologize about that, guys. We will get this very sorted out as quickly as is possible. But what an amazing game and we have on our hands. A completely new type of composition and new approach to League.
Yeah, it's great. I just read a couple of tweets coming through, and I completely agree with them. It is great to see some innovation coming out of Fnatic here. We've known for a long time bruisers are a very strong core part of the game at the moment. If they generally go up in that top lane, they generally wait till the late game, get very strong, leap onto the AD carries, cause all kinds of trouble and nuisance on themselves. Fnatic trying a little bit differently, playing them in all the other lanes, using their early strength from a couple and using the late strength from Jax to just generally cause that early aggression, cause the damage down onto the squishies in the early game, onto the bottom lane, onto the AD carry, onto the AP mid, onto squishy junglers in the case of Amumu, because of course he didn't know he was coming up against this heavy bruiser comp when he picked that jungler. If you don't pick someone that's very safe, they're just going to be in that jungle the whole time, abusing how squishy you are. Fnatic really have practiced this. I don't know who they've practiced it against. Whoever it is has been very, very quiet about it, so kudos to them. But it really does seem to be working here against CLG, and with this lead slowly snowballing in their favor, it's almost 7,000 gold now. These bruisers are only going to get stronger and stronger, and then they're going to be followed along by N-rated, then they're going to have their AP damage, then they're going to be followed along by Reckles, and a lot of that damage is in fact mixed. There's some magic damage comes out from those bruisers as well as just physical.
That's what I was going to say. When you think about it, you think about the way they're going to be building. At some point, these bruisers are going to be picking up Sunfire Capes. So in addition to the tankiness, in addition to the HP that they have and the damage that they're dealing, they're going to start dealing magic damage over time to all of their opponents. If 2 or 3 of them have Sunfire Capes at the same time, add that to the Grasping Roots and Stranglethorns in conjunction with everything else, it's a lot of damage that you cannot mitigate. Every single moment of the Fnatic game plan has been thought out. They have a strong early game, they have a strong mid game, and they have a strong late game. They also have all forms of damage. Normally when you pick this bruiser composition, you tend to lose out on something. You tend to lose that AP, not having an AP burst mage in the middle. But they're going to be getting that. We see a lot of chanting there for CLGEU. They find themselves 6,000 gold down. But if they get an orange, it'll be okay. We'll have to see whether or not that is the case. Just to give you an update, N-rated is quickly rebooting his machine.
He just got back into the game, in actual fact. So his reboot has completed.
Wow,
He's
okay,
back here.
well.
The ready call is out. We should go unpaused in a matter of seconds.
Let's give props to XMG. That's a reboot and reload within less than 2 minutes. Yeah. 2.5 minutes. So really, really nicely done. Awesome machine, sponsor of the tournament. Give them some love, guys.
So we are back in the game. Froggen is doing his own blue buff once more. Gonna do that without any kind of contest unless Creeper wants to try and steal it away. We'll see if that actually happens or not, but I doubt it. Peke just gonna fight Wicked for a little bit of CS in their mid lane. Generally though, they're just gonna respect each other. They realize they couldn't really take that fight without risking too much serious injury. They do back away. We see a mass recall from CLG now in the back half of their own jungle as Reckles actually picking up the blue buff for the Fnatic side. Yes, they have that AP mage from Zyra eventually, once she gets through the GP10. But right now, she doesn't really need the cooldown reduction, she doesn't really need the mana. So give it to your AD carry, give it to us, and we can spam out those Mystic shots. And the Arcane Shift will be on a shorter cooldown as well. Here's the one thing that's come to my mind during that pause. Fnatic well and truly has control of the game, and they had the momentum, they were in their zone. With that pause, they might have just been shaken off a little bit. That brief respite will allow CLG to drop back, collect their thoughts and go in for this. Fnatic do have to avoid that grab from Creeper as he flashes forward, grabs Peke, but this Zyra comes down, knocking up the 3 members of CLG that are here. Zyra taken very low by the equalizer from Wicked, but ultimately no casualties, and Creeper is forced to back away with an Ignite ticking down onto him. There was only 3 members of Fnatic there, all 5 members of CLG were there by the end of the fight. CLG couldn't quite convert it for a kill.
And Summoner Heal was used by Wicked there. He was afraid that Blitz was going to go down, so he decided to throw that out. Very interesting ward placement coming up from Fnatic. You can see that it immediately gets pinged from CLG. They know that it's there, they know that the ward is there, and they just tell everybody, be very aware of this, be very careful. They can see you here. A very nice wall of paint covers the entire mid lane. It's going to allow Froggen to steal away all of that CS, pick up as many as he can, and the numbers are very even across the board. Not every lane is in favor of one team. However, if you add them all up, they're about even. It's about bang on. The gold numbers are at the bottom of your screen. You see that Fnatic have 3 towers to their name. I believe they picked up 2 dragons already, if I recall correctly. One at the 8-minute mark, and they stole that one away at the 14-minute mark. So we should be seeing a 3rd Drake in and around the next minute and a half.
Let's have a look through the items here on both CLG and Fnatic at the moment. Fnatic, look at all those Mercury treads. They do not want to get caught out. Those bruisers, they have to get in. They've got that magic resist. There's a lot of magic damage on CLG and any kind of CC. They've got a lot of mobility spells that can leap all over the map with Lee Sin and with Jack. But if they're CC, that's not going to happen. So they've got to reduce that time and they can be as mobile as possible. On the side of CLG, there's 2 Sork Pen boosts, Sorcerer's Shoes for Magic Pen. Going to obviously output the damage for Wicked and Froggen a lot more. There's tier 1 boosts on Amumu, there's tier 1 boosts on Blitzcrank, and there's attack speed boosts on Corki. They're up against 3 bruisers. Why are they not building Ninja Tab?
Yeah, they definitely should be considering that. The flip side, though, is, you know, they're in a position where CLG are playing what you could consider the standard meta. They're playing their team composition, and they're playing it to beat a standard team comp. So whether or not it's actually going to work does remain to be seen. I was wondering just how quickly Baron's going to go down. We hit the 20-minute mark. Within the next 10 or so minutes, teams are going to start considering Baron. They're going to start looking at it. And with so many auto-attackers and so many, you know, sort of execution and burst damage abilities, it could be very, very good for Fnatic. Snoopy is caught a little bit out of position, but Fnatic aren't really close enough to put pressure. Dragon's Rage kick goes down. Sois is going to carry on fighting. Ignite, Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be put down. Sois, Snoopy goes low! 2-shot barrage! Picks that one up. Beautiful, beautiful play. Hex Drinker, Phage, and Sheen going through Wicked. Fnatic pick up their 10th game. They hit double digits as far as kills are concerned. The underdogs in this matchup, 7,000 gold in the lead. They are poised to defeat the favorites in Dreamhack Winter.
So Fnatic using this 4v5 advantage to push onto this tier 2 turret, but CLG are not giving it up so easily. We do get Peke leaping into stun onto Crepo. Stun's going to result in a kill. Rekkles does pick that one up. CLG, though, have not given up yet. That equalizer is out straight down the middle of the lane. Fnatic do have all 5 members left up, but they're low on health. Here's the thing, we saw the rush out of Baron in that last game. They have 3 bruisers here now. They can cycle that tank very easily. They can do a lot of damage in a short space of time. They're too low to do it for now. Snoopy's coming back up, but they can base, they can heal, they can spend quite a lot of gold which they've been carrying around for a while. An instant BF sword coming out on Lee Sin, so he's about to get a whole lot stronger. Trinity Force complete on Oracles? On Ezreal. There's an Oracles up on XinShao in that mix as well. So they've suddenly got a whole lot stronger. They didn't get that turret, but picking off Snoopy, keeping him locked down for as long as possible, and getting those big extra items to their name has increased their gold lead to 7,000 and set them up very strong for the inevitable fights to come.
Ezreal has a Berserker's Greaves, Trinity Force, Hex Drinker, and Vamp Scepter. He is significantly further ahead of where Yellow Pete is right now. All of those towers, those kills, those dragons are just paying dividends. Trinity Force is getting closer to being completed. It's only a few hundred gold for Yellow Pete, but the problem is Ezreal is dealing the damage right now. Sois is going to commit to this fight. Let's see if he can land it. Dragon's Rage kick is going to knock Crepo into the wall. He's going to decide to follow it up. Resonating Strike. First kill is going to go down. Crepo has been removed. Peke leap strikes over to Froggen. He's going to stun him up, but he takes a lot of damage in reply. Peke did not expect that burst. Crescent Sweep is going to knock everybody backwards now. A little bit more damage. No grass can use to hold anybody in place. CLG pick up their first kill in a couple of minutes. It has been a little while since they picked that one up. But nevertheless, it was a good kill. It's going to allow them to try and take some more objectives. They decide against trying to siege this tower. They do have buffs available, and they want to donate this blue over to Froggen. So, of course, when he uses that Requiem, it will have 10-20 seconds less compliments of the cooldown reduction.
Was a good pick onto Crepo there by the guys on Fnatic. Nicely scouted by Soez, completely ignoring the rumble, using that ward to get in the right position to hit Crepo into the wall, so he would either fly over and back towards the rest of Fnatic or just get stuck there as he did. But Peke going a little bit too deep, just overconfident, getting caught out by the rest of CLG that are there. And there was a lot of damage coming from them too. Yet to complete a Guardian Angel like we saw in the last game. He's got that Hex Drink up and he's got the makings of a Trinity Force. Can't quite finish either of them out just either yet though. So we'll see as he gets kills, as he gets gold throughout the rest of this game and where that progresses. But we do have Enrated getting caught a little bit out in that mid lane as the slow goes down from Froggen, but he doesn't take too much damage. Zyra's hiding here in the top side now, has Snoopy and Wicked over the wall. Will not go against the both of them. He's waiting though for backup from the rest of Fnatic. Does land that Q onto Snoopy. He's going to go straight in with a slow curse. The sad mummy comes out. Snoopy blowing that on just one person, but now the rest of Fnatic coming in. Oh, from Records is going to hit both. Summoner Hill goes down to save Snoopy, but the Ignite is ticking. He goes back in. So has picked up the kill. Fnatic have sniped that jungler off again. They are 4v5 under this tier 2 turret, just as we saw before.
The calls from Fnatic are just so spot on right now. So has waited until the exact moment to dive in. He landed that Sonic Wave, followed it up, and it was just in time for the rest of his team to jump in there and help him secure the kill. But on the back of that kill, they're going to be able to take the secondary tower in the top lane. That's going to be the 4th of the game for them. And Fnatic are looking fantastic right now, increasing this goal to around about 10,000. And rated Zyra is in a very strong power position every single time CLG tries to get aggressive and try to dive forward. She plants some seeds, goes up those grasping roots. That's what I was talking about. Strangling Thorns goes up. Not 100% sure the ultimate was necessary, but nevertheless it is there. Will the Requiem be enough? It's going to drop in rated very, very low. And not going to be enough to secure that kill. So as in the top lane now, he's looking for blood. Level 14 Brutalizer, Hex Drinker, as well as that BF Sword. If he can jump onto Wicket, he may be able to secure the 14th kill.
He is going straight in. He dashes in, gets the slowdown with the red buff and the Tempest and the Cripple. That's the Q and a creep, unfortunately, but Crepo's all the way up here. He has been coming through the river for quite a while. The Ignite does go down onto Wicked. Grab not quite going to land on Soaz. Nicely dodged away, and with Froggen also coming out the river, Soaz wisely chooses to back right out of that fight and not give up any other unnecessary kills.
So as his lane Lee Sin is very, very good.
He's closing in onto Blitzcrank. He doesn't see him. He didn't go far enough around the corner. And he just lets Creepo finish his recall.
Decides not to jump. Or he didn't see it. You know, just walking, checking some vision, and decided he wasn't going to do it. Regardless, manages to get away. A little bit of an arcane shift and auto attack puts Froggen in a bit of a position. He takes a little bit of damage. His recall has been cancelled, and he is sitting on a good chunk of change. 2,400 gold in his back pocket. But so is Soaz. Soaz has got a big chunk of cash. He snuck up behind the enemy lines. He's going to be able to dive over the wall with a very, very nice Sonic Wave. Now we're going to see if he can get away from the rest of the team. Jukes past the bandage toss. Soaz showing that he knows how to play Lee Sin. He knows how to juke and dive, move past absolutely everybody. Creeper gets caught out by those grasping roots. Needs the large rod in the hands of Zyra, as well as the Negatron cloak. So every single member of Fnatic right now has some form of magic resistance or some sort of magic resist shield, and that is part of the reason why they're not getting blown up.
Zyra also starting to get that needlessly large rod now, she's so she's starting to get some damage. There's starting to be a mage now within this Fnatic lineup. Still not so much armor here. There's finally a pair of Ninja Tabby on Crepo. He has got those to go up against these bruisers, but there's 3 Sork boots, 3 magic penetration boots, and those attack speed boots. And other than that, there's not so much armor built in here on the CLG lineup. Snoopy has finally got a chain vest after being bullied by Soaz, but the rest of these bruisers from Fnatic are still going to do so much damage. Wicked is still going hardcore full damage build. There's no Giants build, there's no Crystal Scepter or something in there, just to make him that little bit more tanky against this bruiser onslaught. But we'll see whether it comes back to bite them or if they can make it work. We are still waiting for one more big fight. It's about 26 minutes. Still waiting for this Baron. Both teams are now dancing around it. Dancing with the dragons as it is. Toying with their oracles, trying to take away vision of each other. We do see Soaz going in onto Crepo in the top lane, flashing over him to kick the dragon range back towards Enraged. It wasn't the perfect land, but a quick flash means the snare's actually going to miss from Enraged, but he does land the next Q. Soaz will go in, pick up the kill. 170 gold. That's how many times Crepo has died. He's not worth anything in the moment, but it's opened up a Baron for Fnatic. They're toying with it. Peke starts the fight. Do go in and kill a ward instead as CLG start to close in from nearby. We'll keep an eye on the Baron, click on its health and watch CLG as they close in. Down to 9,000, but Fnatic have decided to pull away. They do not want to risk giving this up to a possible steal from CLG. Snoopy now on one side of the wall. It's going to be flashed. Leap forward from Peke, gets the stun onto Yellow Pete and Snoopy. Snoopy going down very low. Reckles all comes across. Soaz picks up the kill. Snoopy and Yellow Pete is now the next one exposed. Yellow Pete is going to get focused down by Cyanide and Peke. The Hex Drinker shield goes out to save Peke. Yellow Pete will fall on the edge of his turret. The Stranglethorns go out and zone out the rest of CLG with a double kill for Soaz. Peke will he fall? No! Summoner Hill goes out and the shield from Soaz keeps him standing, and all 5 members of Fnatic back up to take this Baron.
Such a great sequence of play. I was just thinking to myself, what can Fnatic do? Even though N-Rated didn't land that snare up in the top tri-bush, he put the little plant, the little seed buddlings down, got those little slowing tentacles up, and it was all that was required. N-Rated is waiting for everybody to get in range. He snares 2 of them with the grasping roots, will go down in the background, but Baron has been secured by Fnatic. Now all of a sudden a long-range Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike from Soaz, jumps in there, Dragon's Rage kick, knocks him back. That's Crepo falling, Wicked drops as well. Froggen was forced very, very low. low. Fnatic are 18-7 up, are 11,000 gold in the lead. They have a Baron Nashor on their hands, and now they're going to extend this a further 1,000 by picking up the Dragon. I don't think CLG can pull their way back into this game.
It's going to be very tough if they do. I really like when Rated did that. He had very low mana. He knew they were coming in. He let them get as close as possible, snared as many of them as he could, died on purpose, and then used his true damage passive to try and help through the fight. He hit it down onto Froggen. Unfortunately, the team didn't chase through it, but it did force him low, forced him out of the fight, and Froggen had no mana, so he couldn't keep doing any damage. Anyway, they did pick up the other two members of CLG. Now, as you say, 8 kills to 17, a 12,000 gold lead for Fnatic with this triple bruiser lineup, with Zyra, who is inches away from a Zhonya's Hourglass. It's going to be so tough for CLG to try and turn this around now. They've started to build some mana now. Fine, there's a Glacial Shroud on Snoopy. There's a Chain Vest on Wicked. There's a Chain Vest on Corki. But it might just be too little too late.
Yeah, you know, at 28 minutes, when your team is that far, your opposing team is so far ahead, it's a bit questionable, you know. It is a bit of a last-ditch effort, though, and if it can give them the ability to survive, they have champions that can do very, very well. They can actually get kills. The problem is they've got to burn through this massive, massive item advantage. A Guardian Angel has been picked up by Lee Sin now to back up the Hex Drinker. So if by some miracle you get through the Merc Trades, the Hex Drinker, all the lifesteal and the damage he's putting down, he's just going to respawn. Have a look at Ezreal at the moment. Trinity Force, Infinity Edge, and a Hex Drinker completed. His damage is so high. Two Trinity Forces on the side of Fnatic, so that's 2 tons of damage, I believe.
It is 2 tons of damage and 2 tons more than CLG. They do have just the one on Corki, who can't really do too much at the moment as he's taking so much damage from these bruises. We saw Yellow Pete kind of got sacrificed there by CLG. Snoopy and him were stunned up. No one from CLG came around to try and defend him. They just let them take out Snoopy and then let them take out the Yellow Pete in the follow-up. We do now have Fnatic as 5, pressuring down onto the CLG base. Pekka in the top lane, the rest of them in mid. Froggen is around in the mid lane trying to defend that, but Wicked is up in the top lane pushing off Pekka. Pekka is closing in now around the backside of CLG. Coming from behind this turret, he has got that Baron Rush still on him. Soaz goes in the backside, kicks Froggen down towards the rest of the team. Soaz going to go very low, but Snoopy and Froggen are nuked down immediately. Pekka in the back and fight, locking up Creepo, Yellow Pete and Wicked. The Requiem's going to come up, but there's no one that low on the Fnatic lineup. Records will fall. Wicked picking up that kill, but Cyanide leaps in, picks up Yellow Pete. Only Wicked left standing. Wicked is down. It's an ace for Fnatic. They only lost 1 member, and they're going to push in onto this CLG base. They're almost definitely going to get this inhibitor. They have run out of creeps, but there's a big long death timer on CLG. Quick shield onto the creep keeps it going, and Fnatic will start to work away on this first mid inhibitor of the game. CLG, I mean, that was under their turrets. It was in their base, but they still just couldn't take the fight. Fnatic are really going for the jugular here. They're going straight in onto Nexus turret number 1. Pekka tanking the turret, leaping out as the creeps arrive. Turret number 2, they're going to start working on it. The Nexus is exposed. CLG are still down. Fnatic working away on the Nexus. We've seen CLG defend it once. They can't do it again. Fnatic are your DreamHack Winter 2012 champions!